Wright, Moore, Charlton, Hunter, Butcher, Walker, Adams, Campbell, Pallister and Terry. Even Ferdinand. 11 England central defensive legends, none of whom, sadly, are available to Roy Hodgson over the coming days. World Cup qualifiers, obviously our theme for this week's Sports Spread, and with me to make sense of the betting odds is SpreadX's Will Stevenson. Will, thanks very much indeed for joining us today. Let's go through some of the names that we should be talking about. Lescott, Smalling, Colker and Taylor doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Can you remember a time when England was so lacking in decent centre-halves?
No, I really can't. They really are struggling for centre-backs at the moment, but hopefully they won't really be needed against San Marino on Friday.
What's the latest then on who will play in this game? Talk of what Carrick dropping back if they prove too difficult to break down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. I think a lot's been made of who might play at centre-back. Carrick, as I said before, shouldn't really matter against San Marino, who hopefully won't really cause us too many defensive problems.
OK, so if we think they're fairly confident, what are the odds then on this game? Presumably England to win isn't exactly going to make you rich, is it?
It isn't. They're 1 to 100 with us fixed odds. It really isn't a question of whether England will win. It's a question of how much they might win by. So that's really where we're going to look to see the money, maybe on the supremacy, where obviously we're England 5.1 to 5.3 goal favourites. The correct score market, that's where we're expecting to see more money.
It took, 35 minutes and a penalty to open the floodgates in the 5-0 win at Wembley in October. Is a low score a bad bet on this one? I mean, everyone thinks we're going to go into double figures, but typically we get the win, but it's a bit hard work, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, we've centred our sort of correct score market around sort of 5-0. That's the favourite at 9 to 2. You can get 4-0 or 6-0 at 5 to 1. I quite like 3-0 at 7 to 1. I think England could be a little bit laboured, and therefore 3-0 is not a bad result for me.
Dare I mention cards?
Pardon?
Dare I mention cards? Because we like to make it difficult, as I said.
We do like to make it difficult. There have been bookings in the previous games. That's one market that, again, our punters will be interested in, as well as the corners market, which we've got at 10.7 to 11.2. There were 17 corners when the sides last met in that 5-0 victory you were talking about. OK, so we're looking for a bit of height to get some goals there. Now, as far as qualification goes, obviously the Montenegro game much more of a focus, and the likes of Stefan Jovetic and Mirko Vicunic, both in form for top Serie A teams, should provide England's defence with more of a test. Are England still likely to be favourites for this one, despite being behind them, of course, in the actual group at the moment? They are obviously 2 points behind in the group, but they will... And despite being away, they will still definitely go off favourites. We've yet to go out live with those prices, but they will be odds-on favourites for the game. Imagine around the 4 to 5 for the match. It'll obviously go a long way to decide who wins the group this game. England are 4 to 11 to win the group, so they're still the much fancied side in Group H. And again, we don't see too many problems again away at Montenegro. They should be looking for a victory there as well.
I admire your confidence. The crowd and the players likely, for example, to get on the back of Wayne Rooney after his sending off ahead of Euro 2012. He's a player, obviously, you'd expect to be among the first goal scorers.
Exactly. Those markers will go live when the team's been announced. Obviously, England might rest a few players against San Marino, so we're not quite sure what the side's going to be. But he'll be the favourite in the betting for first goal scorer, and a very short price to score at any time as well.
We mustn't forget a quick word on Scotland against Wales. This already looking for a bit of it is effectively a dead rubber, but decent money coming in on this one?
Yeah, it is a dead rubber, really, as you say. They're the bottom two sides in the group. We are seeing quite good money on this game. It's captured the imagination of the two home sides playing each other. Scotland are the 8 to 11 favourites in the game. I quite like Wales at 4 to 1. The last 4 times these sides have met since 2000, Wales have actually won 3 of the last 4, including that victory when they last met 2-1 thanks to a couple of late Bale goals. I think people are waiting to see whether Bale's going to play, though. He's still a bit iffy in selection. The word is that he probably will play, but if Bale is selected, I quite fancy Wales at 4 to 1 to win that one.
I was going to say, if Bale does play, have Scotland got anybody who can actually stop him?
No, not really. They've had a couple of encouraging results in the last 2 friendlies, but they are still quite a poor side. But Bale is obviously huge for Wales. He's by far and away their best player. So I think it's a wait and see, just check that Bale is selected and maybe look to get with Wales in this one. OK, thank you very much indeed for that. That is it for another week. My thanks to Will Stevenson of SpreadX from the London Stock Exchange studios. Join us again next time when we'll probably make Bet Butler's Nigel Seeley talk about the boat race. I'm Nigel Stevenson. This is Reuters.